The Bills won another firefight, this time with the Lions. Davante Adams exploded for the Jets, and there's probably a better way to say that. The Niners' season is so bad, players are quitting in the middle of games. And the Cowboys did the possible to beat the Panthers. Welcome to Shut Up Football. I'm Jeff Stoltzfus. That's Kevin. Mason Rudolph, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, Spencer Rattler, Sam Howell, and Tim Boyle. All of these quarterbacks saw action last week. And if you made your fantasy football league's playoffs, may God have mercy on your soul. Because we won't. It's time for the roast. Last week, these teams combined for 82 points. This week, 18. 6 stupid field goals, 13 punts. There were 7 in the first quarter, and each time, Al Michaels got weirder about receiver Jacob Cowing's name.
It's taken back to the 37-yard line by Jacob Cowing.
He's not a cow! You understand that, right? He can't be milked. I mean, he can, but you will be disappointed. Is this what good defenses look like? I don't care for it. Kyle Shanahan got so bored, he started doing crossword puzzles. Brock Purdy was intercepted in the end zone, so you do know where it is. The weather became a vile mistress. It was rain and pain in Santa Clara, the only section of California that's not a wildfire. Fans were covered like they were about to paint. Defensive coordinator Chris Shula looked like Jim Caviezel fresh out of the washer. About time we got a sequel to The Passion of the Christ. The first one really left me hanging.
Not afraid to leave his guys on islands.
That's what the commissioner's exempt list should be. John Lynch, watch this game from that channel you don't get. Puka Nacua became the victim of bullying and had to be separated from himself. Deebo Samuel said he doesn't get the ball enough, that he dropped a potential touchdown. I wonder if he caught the irony, or if he dropped that too. In the third quarter, linebacker Devondre Campbell refused to enter the game. He said, "No, thank you," which I didn't know was an option. Where is he now? I need to know where the line forms to get $5 million not to play football. Pipe cleaner with an attitude, Jaden Daniels threw 2 touchdowns in this. He was fall down and get back up good. Daniels found Terry McLaurin in traffic for a score, then danced a jig and sang a sad a cappella version of Radiohead's Creep. I blame modern movie trailers. And here comes Jake Haener. And there goes Jake Haener. He was less than good, and it was Spencer Rattler time. Best known for his pouty little mouth. He's never had a satisfying meal, and he's not gonna start now. Wide receiver Cedric Wilson threw the Saints' first touchdown. Why not? Everybody gets a turn. The Saints are playing 3-card money with the most important position in sports. Rattler brought them within 1 play to win the game, and they went for 2. They didn't make it, but I love the devil-may-care Thelma and Louise attitude of Coach Rizzi to go for it. And the reaction from this portly bumblebee, who looks like the scamp who stole somebody's sandwich from the break room.
Oh, look, he's an Audi.
Jameis Winston had another rough day. 3 interceptions, no touchdowns. I thought he was supposed to be accurate since his laser eye surgery. Did he just throw a jump ball into double coverage to a 5'10" receiver? Maybe more lasers then. He was benched in favor of Slim Jim stunt double Dorian Thompson-Robinson. They call him DTR, which stands for Down to Replace Jameis Winston. This game was somehow equal parts madness and boring. There were 15 punts in this thing. The Browns punter's name looks like someone threw a game of Scrabble down the stairs. The Chiefs forgot to give Harrison Butker a holder for his field goal, which I like. Direct snap it and kick it in midair like a boss. Now that's special teams. Patrick Mahomes left this game with an ankle injury, and I am in no way concerned. We've seen this before. He hobbles to the sideline like someone stole his tendons. Then they goose him up with go-go juice and he trots back in for the next play, like he just got a blood transfusion from a unicorn. You can call this game sloppy, but I found it to be a delight in all the worst ways. Absolute chaos wrapped in absurdity, and I couldn't be spoon-fed it fast enough. Elbows and assholes were flying in all directions, like an orgy filled with circus performers. There were 10 turnovers in this game. Will Levis was responsible for 4, and then the bench caught his ass. They had to turn to Mason Rudolph again. Rudolph, with your nose so bright, guide us with that giant fucking chin I assume you used to crush walnuts with when you make Waldorf salad. It was a big day for penalties too. Fox was gifting sad trivia to fuel sports nerds' rage boners. Joe Burrow had the ball stolen by the biggest guy on the field. You can call it a fumble if you want, but I call it the world's largest strip show. Defensive lineman Sam Hubbard caught a touchdown. Were they low on tight ends, or did Mike Gesicki park in Zach Taylor's parking spot again? The Texan center bounced a snap off C.J. Stroud's throat. Stroud showed slightly better aim, hitting Nico Collins for a couple of scores. The Texans faked a punt, and Dare Agumbawale picked up the first down and then some. What a play! Let's look at it again. What the fuck am I looking at here? Some kid's shitty art project? Just show me the play. I have eyes. Tua Tagovailoa was responsible for 4 turnovers. Damn it, Tua! You're gonna get this beautiful nerd fired. This is how Adam Gases are born. No one scored a point in the fourth quarter, which is how I like it. Too many games end in high-stakes drama. It's nice to just sit and check my email sometimes. Lamar Jackson threw 5 touchdowns, including one to Mark Andrews, who now has the most touchdowns in Ravens history. Not my fault. That bird told me she was on birth control. Tommy DeVito's tush-push ended with him being folded like a map. He eventually left the game concussed, and Tim Boyle was forced into action. Drew Lock was the emergency backup quarterback, but he was in a walking boot. What's he gonna do? Ride in on one of those little scooters? Malik Neighbors' rookie season has seen him catch passes from Daniel Jones, Drew Lock, Tommy DeVito, and Tim Boyle. If he only knew, he might have run his 40 at the Combine dressed like the Michelin Man. Why are fans still going to Giants games? Who's paying to watch this when highway accidents are free? Mac Jones is an absolute stud when it comes to failure. He was picked off twice in this. Jaguar Jeremiah Ledbetter, which already sounds like a folk song with a lesson for kids, sacked Aaron Rodgers for a huge loss and celebrated with a backflip. That's a 30-year-old man weighing 300 pounds catching sky with near full rotation. Meanwhile, I make a noise when I bend to put my socks on. Owner Woody Johnson was actively searching Google for his next head coach. Aaron Rodgers looked like a much younger, less annoying version of himself.
And that right there is sad, Aaron Rodgers.
Not today, graphic. He threw 3 touchdowns and curiously led the team in rushing, despite several much better ups. Devontae Adams got his 100th touchdown, a huge achievement for Adams and fans of round numbers. Bryce Young had a bad day. 2 interceptions, 2 fumbles. Squirrels were stealing his nuts and burying them in the backyard. The only bright spot was a Jalen Coker touchdown on busted coverage, and a Bryce Young rushing touchdown after he turned sideways and the defense couldn't see him. Cooper Rush, a man who looks like he was born with butterscotch candies in his pockets, threw 3 touchdowns for the Cowboys. He hit regulars like CeeDee Lamb and irregulars like Jalen Brooks. The fuck is this guy? Rush was a human highlight reel. It imbued him with the confidence to write the great American novel and poop standing up. Not at the same time. I mean, maybe. Mike McCarthy just passed Bill Parcells to become 12th on the list of most wins by a head coach. And if that feels weird, just know that he's now tied with Jeff Fisher. The Chargers may have just learned something about themselves. Baker Mayfield and the Bucs dominated them. Bucky Irving went for over 100 yards. Baker Mayfield threw 4 touchdowns. 2 went to Mike Evans. They didn't even punt in this game. Their punter never even left the bus. He played Sega all game and made snow angels on the floor in a pile of bunions. Justin Herbert threw his first interception since week 2. God, to be that young again. Partial credit has to go to Quentin Johnston. The man's got an amazing catch radius, but the awareness of a corpse. Mike Evans was signing shoes. That is not a binding contract. Horsefight. Bo Nix threw 3 interceptions, but then he threw 3 touchdowns. Atone! There was some weird-ass sheep shit going down at halftime. Jonathan Taylor scored an unbelievable touchdown. In that, it was unbelievable that he dropped the ball before the goal line and it wasn't a touchdown. Why does this keep happening? You don't get points for proximity. Put these men in boxes and parade them through town as we pelt them with our ugliest fruits and vegetables. If this were incidents on the job, it would be 0 days since our last. Nick Bonito interrupted a game of catch and took it for points. They said he had soft hands, which he used to grab his ping-ping on the way to the end zone. I wish Anthony Richardson would have chased him into the locker room, only to begin a complicated game of to-the-death grab ass. Coming into this game, Kyler Murray was feeling under the weather, which just makes sense. He's under most things. The old guys from the Muppets were there. We lost Trey McBride forever as he fell in love with one of the refs. Drake May was picked off after Kayshon Boutte hand-barfed the ball to the defense, which seems unfair. May's stat sheet shouldn't have to suffer just because some French guy named after a butt has feet for hands. James Conner had a pair of scores. One of them should have come complete with flames and Avengers music. Yes, the breathtaking Burger King Mountains. Jonathan Gannon is a man of few words, and those words come before you stop talking.
Create those explosive plays that you want.
Move him around the formation a little bit and make some plays.
May is second in rookie rushing yards per attempt, 2 spots above Beady Feathers, and just below Beady Doggies. May flipped the ball to Demario Douglas for a casual score, which was impressive as hell, but I do have one question. What was this guy doing in the background, frozen like a statue with his cheese cutter in the wind? We see you. This ain't no T-Rex situation. We see you. Defense schmefense. This game reminded me of when you go bowling and they put those bumpers up on the side for the kids, and then you throw your ball at the kids. Can't miss. Josh Allen had another 4 touchdowns. After one, Coach McDermott looked like he just read some graffiti on the wall of his favorite bathroom stall.
I will call Brenda for a good time.
Jared Goff threw 5 touchdowns. I'm not even a Lions fan, but if I saw this on my doorbell camera, I would lose my shit. Lions tackle Dan Skipper caught a touchdown. Eventually, his 40 time is ongoing. Kicker Tyler Bass missed a field goal from the 6-inch line. Easy, Tyler. Wait for the playoffs. James Cook had over 100 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns, but they almost pulled him down by his hair. One of the main reasons the Predator no longer plays professional ball. That and his touchdown celebration was murder. The Lions did an onside kick with 12 minutes left in the game. I would say that it would come back to haunt them, but it haunted them immediately. Shakir, St. Brown, Gibbs, Crockett, Tubbs. Okay, did anybody else not get a touchdown in this game yet? Because there are 12 seconds left. Welcome to the Battle of Pennsylvania. Hope you could make it. The roads are filthy with potholes. TJ Watt forced the ball from Jalen Hurts.
With a little peanut punch.
Keep your hands off my peanut.
It's just too loose.
Tom Brady makes Tony Romo sound like James Earl Jones. Hurts got back on track with a touchdown to A.J. Brown. The media said there's friction between them, but all I see are best friends who braid each other's hair and talk about boys. The Steelers were without their lead receiver, George Pickens. He was out with rickets or something. Russell Wilson was forced to throw to other people, and it felt weird and dirty, especially when Najee Harris broke out the butter mitts. The Eagles took the ball to the 1 and ran their signature move, collective concussions. It looks like a pile of ants running nasty on a Klondike bar. The Eagles milked the clock like it was 2%, and Mike Tomlin was forced to watch like he was waiting for a sandwich and didn't want no trouble. They broke Geno Smith. He wanted a flag, but he needed the bench. Sam Howell had to come in, and boy, did he bring his A game. Sorry, I misread that. He brought a game. A bad one. He sucks. He went 5 of 14 and threw an interception. He's known for taking sacks, which might make you popular in art school or prison, but should be avoided in the NFL. They tried to lean on their defense and Zach Charbonnet, who scored a long-range touchdown. Somehow, even that didn't bring a smile to Coach McDonald, who looked like he just caught his kid microwaving the family pet. Jordan Love connected with Romeo Doubs for 2 scores. On the second one, he slid out the back of the end zone. But as we all know, 1 elbow equals 2 feet, or 1 shin, or 2 ankles a throat in a chihuahua. Cue the ritualistic music. The Vikings held a whiteout party, the likes of which I haven't seen since P. Diddy. Sam Darnold continued his Darnabalistic ways, hitting Justin Jefferson for a score. The Vikings QB room is a Frankenstein's basement of all the parts he didn't use. Caleb Williams made a list of QBs I'm sure turned out fine.
It's been a lot of sacks.
Williams was stripped and abused like a fresh pledge. He looked exhausted and beat down, like he just ate at a Brazilian steakhouse and got the meat sweats. They interviewed Coach Temporary. The Bears finally scored a touchdown, but it was called back because the fullback didn't declare as eligible. I hope the next time he comes back in, he dons a saucy accent to the refs and says, "Well, I do declare." The Bears looked hopeless again, but Troy Aikman and Joe Buck fucking nailed it.
We have not seen much so far, but a half of football to go. Santa
was on hand. There was Viking Santa, And not allowed within 100 yards of children, Santa. Nice try, Larry. Kirk Cousins barely eclipsed 100 yards passing. Is it time to put him out to pasture?
It's grass, Kirk. You like that?
This game was like watching two men in straitjackets trying to fist fight in a pool. If Desmond Ridder was looking for revenge against his old team, I hope he stuck some gum under their seats. He didn't exactly pull off a Count of Monte Cristo style revenge caper. He threw 2 interceptions and led the team in rushing with 28 yards. I wouldn't be surprised if he led the team in receiving too, with 0. The Raiders look like a team built around a punter. They turned the lights out on Antonio Pierce. At least let my man get his coat before you shut it all down. The Falcons defense pushed them so far back they got a safety. That's 2 points, an insurmountable lead. Nice to know there was something prohibitive in place to keep them from taking snaps amongst the concessions. What do you think, we're stupid? That doesn't spell a goddamn thing. The Falcons squeaked out a victory against an 11-loss team led by their third-string quarterback. Why does every game look like the ending of an episode of Saturday Night Live?
And now the soft pretzel of the week. Yummy. This week, the pretzel goes to Falcons GM Terry Fontenot for having the stones and forethought to draft Michael Penix Jr. The Falcons are only a game back on the division lead, but Kirk Cousins has looked not so good. He's currently 16th in the league in passer rating, 16th in total touchdowns, and 7th in yards. The stats actually don't sound that bad, but watching him in games, you can see he's struggling. In fact, as I wrote this, the news broke that the Falcons are pivoting to Michael Penix Jr. Penix was a surprise pick by the Falcons. In fact, they ate shit for doing so. But as I pointed out in my NFC South draft video, I got it. And that was before I heard rumblings about next year's draft class being a down year if you need a quarterback. Think about teams like the Giants, Raiders, Jets, all thirsty for a quarterback. The Browns are going to be stuck with Deshaun Watson again. The Titans are going to be stuck with Will Levis again for another year. Sam Darnold is going to command a haul, and if I were the Vikings, I wouldn't even let him go. Justin Fields will probably end up a starter somewhere next year, but the Falcons, they don't have to scramble through that mess because GM Terry Fontenot drafted Michael Penix Jr. 8th overall, and that deserves a pretzel. Stay salty, my friend. Thanks for watching Shut Up Football. Please leave your comments below. Say hi to your mom for me, and we'll see you next week. Peace!
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys. It sound right, boy.